in the summer. Yeah, right, whatever. There's always something to do on this map, Tim. I think as you heard the desk saying, like, we don't really see an awful lot of skyscraper and best of ones. It's my favorite map, so I'm actually really happy that we're going to it to see these two teams throw down. But it certainly does put a bit of a challenge to MACKO here to show us what they can do on the attacking side.
Oh, definitely. It's not going to be an easy start for them. That much is for sure. As the desk have said, you know, Gen.G, I think, coming in here, you know, looking pretty good over the last couple of weeks. It's been a slow start for MACKO, certainly by stage 1 standards. This is the team that finished in 5th place back in stage 1. It was, yes, they had a few wins, kind of, it felt born off the back of big Teb clutches and big moments, and maybe so far this stage those moments have just eluded them a little bit.
Bomb located by attack.
So they come back and they go again. But starting on the attack here, yeah, it's not going to be too easy. I think Gen.G can make it very difficult. We're going to start over on the office and exhibition side. Again, a trend that we're seeing a little bit more frequently recently, rather than starting on the karaoke T side. Start over on office exhibition and then probably move across here later on. You will still see both of the top floor sites, but just a little bit of a lean, a little bit of a favoritism being played over to office and exhibition. But look at this setup. Karaoke T being really opened up at a foot level there to make it very, very difficult for MACKO to confidently move through there, because the difficulty is there's several places, particularly drum, I'm thinking, where you're getting angles through at that kind of level where you can kind of play up onto the steps and get those low angles. So definitely something MACKO needs to be careful of.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how things start cooking there now. Double shields on side. Got the yeah. I need to avoid the hell out of the operator. I say. Let's go back to being like a 12-year-old edgy emo kid again. You ever have an emo phase, Tim?
I did not, Des.
I can imagine you with a fantastic, like, dyed black hair fringe covering one eye.
I mean, I've got photographs of you with, you know, some fantastic fringes. And,
I've had them all over the years, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I never went down the emo road, really. But I love the music, to be fair. I was probably about 16 or so when it was like the scene was really popular. And yeah, I loved all the music and everything, just never really got that deep into it.
Yeah, I've had to kind of like grow up a little bit, but I'm still that same emo kid at the inside, I promise. Here we go, Tim. Finish with the window, charging their way forward. I tried the very best to try and make something happen off the back of that smoke covering off the doorway, but all it did was mask a C4. They get one at the back of it. Another kill follows, and then another C4 comes through just afterwards. His first attack, Tim, it feels like it's toast, and we're only halfway into the round.
Yeah, it's over just like that, isn't it? It was beautiful from Deadshot. He'd just been waiting for that moment. There's been a lot of noise made. You know that there's going to be pressure coming from that window, and he was there ready with the Nitro, manages to get himself 2 kills, and it really did open things up for Gen.G. So MACKO now just trying to get anything going that they can with MACKO. Tries to force his way in. He's using the util, using the shield. He's not going to get anything out of it. Skies will pick him up, and then the final kill comes in from Deadshot. Great start from Gen.G, and I think that's exactly what our analysts and all the MACKO fans out there were worried about.
Yeah, it's going to be the challenge, I think, and it's the kind of classic problem that I think we saw on Theme Park quite a lot. On Theme Park, this is more about top floor I'm talking about here. It was very bottlenecky. Like, it was very hard to attack onto because you just struggled to be able to push through these single doorways. I remember some really cool rounds on Theme Park. I think when G2 were defending once against Nabi, I want to say. That's how long ago it was now. They just like lined up new jammers across the entirety of the top floor. It almost formed like a front line that no one could push through. This map becomes very, very similar in that it is very, very pokey. It is very, very bottlenecky. It's somewhat predictable as the attackers almost. So you've got to try and do something a little bit with a bit more flair, something a bit more aggressive and rushy in some cases, I think, as well, to get over the line. Or you have to be able to execute fantastically as a team unit. I'm not saying that we didn't see MACKO try and do that. Then they were all stacked upon one window, but it was a bit too easy when you've got 2 or 3 players trying to barrel from the same window to toss a couple of C4s out and just net kill after kill after kill. So let's see what MACKO can do in round 2. I think step 1 is getting inside the building and ideally trying to do it in a spot where there aren't many players waiting with the C4. That feels like a pretty good start to me.
Round 2 is underway then. We get into the action phase. Last time around, the attack really was over before it began. Let's see if MACKO can Step one, get themselves inside the building. It was exactly that entry process that cost them last time around. 3 lives went whilst trying to do so. Just going to have a little bit of a run out there from Dora on the striker. I think he was maybe just having a look over at kind of ventilation units area out onto the balcony, but won't get any joy, no damage done, no harm, no foul, and he will get himself back inside the building. But not bad progress from MACKO here straight away. They've got that geisha wall open. That's always a good first step. Drones are going to be going in, just having a look across the locations. Nobody inside the map yet. 45 seconds has gone, so keep an eye out for when MACKO start trying to push in. They are being held at bay from over here. That's not a great start. MACKO gets one. Azox, it's that process again. Des just getting in the building.
Yeah, they've kind of got help for leather here. I'm just trying to get into the east side of the map is the main thing to talk about. You know, Kev's now working his way up main stairs. Wild spray doesn't quite find any damage on towards the Ella, I believe it was, of Asa on the other side. This one looks a little bit too easy for Gen.G to hold on once again. And it's why it seemed like I was saying, I'd really love to see them focus on getting control on the east side of the map first here. It was a little bit, I said try to go fast and rush a little bit, but I don't really mean rush into 1v1s on the other side of the map here. You know, look to take control, make use of utility. You've got Candelas on side. We had the Docker, we both came out, but they just could not push forward off the back of it. Gen.G with another very comfortable round here.
Yeah, very easy for them. MACKO needs to go back to the drawing board. Like I said, the big first step here has to be, let's get 3 or 4 people established inside the map, comfortable, but Gen.G are just giving them absolutely no breathing space whatsoever. Like you say, I agree, you know, get yourself into exhibition office there, get a little bit more aggressive, put some numbers on that side of things and, like, you know, work your way across. But as it was, we were kind of checking out what was going on over there, and then we see him starting to die elsewhere. So yeah, for MACKO, I think maybe just make it one of those rounds in this next round, particularly in round 3, where you kind of take what you give them to begin with, because they can't hold the entirety of the top floor here. They're going to be defending one of the lower sites, probably Kitchen Barbecue, and they can't defend the entirety of the top floor. If they do, they're going to be spread very, very thin. So get in there, get yourself established. I would say, again, office exhibition, go in there in numbers and work your way across. Put Gen.G in some bad positions, some 2v1s, 3v1s, get those easy kills, get some map control, and give yourself something to work from. Give yourself an opportunity. Don't be dying to little jump outs, little peaks, you know. Get in there in numbers and make their life as difficult as possible.
A bit of cheekiness coming out early on. I think we're already seeing that if anyone has played it in ranked. Just start the map and it's like, oh, where's the run out from? Normally expect to see it coming out the same spot, trying to cause a little bit of bother onto that shrine balcony, and nothing really happens off the back of it. They're just putting the edge on MACKO here, reminding them that pressure can come at any given time. And just to make matters worse, Tim, I'm looking at the lineup from Gen.G. I'm seeing the Clash, I'm seeing the Legion, I'm seeing that Kiva barriers, I'm seeing C4s again. Even if you get inside the map, you've still got so much to deal with once you're actually inside it.
Yeah, Gen.G certainly aren't, you know, making it easy, and again losing that entry. Akwi goes in and just felt like he wasn't aware that he was going to be swung at that moment by Azox, who manages to get himself back to drums safely, gets his Kiva barricades out, just making life a nightmare for MACKO to try and do anything about that loss they've suffered, to try and follow him, chase him, get a trade. Just nothing possible. But again, that brings up another point. Is there any opportunity there for a trade? No, there was none. Akwi's gone in on his own, and there's not been anybody in position to try and support him, to try and make it difficult for the Azami to move back.
Absolutely. Well, at least here, they managed to get themselves a kill on the board relatively early on. Yeah, Akwi's gone down, and now it's starting to fall apart again. I'll say, because coming to their side and falling apart for the other side, sorry, losing 2. Kill comes back the other way. Again, that reminder, Tim, we're only halfway in the round, so give it to MACKO. They are moving through these rounds pretty damn fast and trying to put the pressure onto Gen.G early on. But here, what can they do when they're facing off against that clash that I spoke about early on, and there's still a player downstairs looking to cause even more bother? Is he feeling too gritty?
No, not at all. Time is going to start becoming a factor as well. 1 minute 10 left on the board, as you quite rightly say. Clash to deal with, who's just going to continue to pester and feed information from up there at the top. It looks like actually just going to dip away. Needs to be careful. That Clash, I think, becomes quite a bit weaker when they're being challenged vertically. It can be easier to get angles around that shield onto them behind it, so they just need to be careful about that. But yeah, a lot of work for MACKO to do here. They've still got the hard breach charges, so that's good. They can open the hatch in Geisha if it it was closed, which will give them access into site, and then they can start clearing out a little bit of utility and thinking about a plan, but they don't have all day to do that.
Certainly don't, Tim. And at this point, it's more trying to fish for a little bit as well, I think. The Villas have got a lot of time to play with, but this is the kind of the problem, though. These are the defenders. You let one slip through the net. One gets caught on a vertical, and things start to look pretty dire. MACKO might be in a good spot here, but the plant is going down. He's going to have to move at some point here. He's spraying through the wall, but hasn't found his man. Azos is upstairs, and he hasn't got a chance in hell. Lolo, a 3K in the round, and MACKO's got it all to rescue Tim. The problem is, he hasn't got the vertical. This one's done.
No, it is. He's going to go in. He probably gets his first kill. But beyond that, he's just going to start getting hit from above, I'd imagine. If he wants to do anything, I'd say go quickly while they're still opening up those lines of sight. But they'll catch him here on drum stairs, surely. No, he manages to get it. Excuse me, MACKO. 1v3 becomes a 1v1. MACKO's got about 10 seconds. Surely he runs out of time here. Even if he's going to drop... He doesn't have time now. He can't even drop the hatch and get back to the defuse. It was a good effort, but Dora is going to be the last one alive inside of Geisha. Cuts his man down, and MACKO get themselves one on the board. And as I said, they got themselves established in the map. It wasn't the greatest entry ever from MACKO. He went in, gave himself away to Azox without much of a challenge. There was nobody backing him up to try and get that trade. But after that, it started going right for MACKO. They got that map control, and look what happened when they did. They were able to use it really well, force those defenders around, put them in bad positions. You know, as you said, he went fishing down the hatch. He caught a big one, Des. It was easy. It created the space for them to put the diffuser down. So better round from MACKO, and they need to build on the success of that.
Absolutely. It was the same start where it was like a bit explosive and scrappy to get in, right? Trading the 1-for-1 quite early on. But I think once they were actually in, they got themselves established in the map, started to get the vertical. That's when you saw them come alive. It's these next two sites now going back up to that top floor that could prove to be the challenge, because it's not about getting verticals here. And you know, there'll be more bodies on that upstairs looking to give you a little bit of a headache, but we'll see how they do. What's important though, Tim, is just getting yourself on the board. Now they've done that, you're hoping they can build it in something a little bit more as we go along.
And a nice little vertical tour there of Skyscraper. We don't often see that too much.
It's all a ruse, Tim. It's for an ad.
It's all a ruse. I mean, I don't mind. It was a very nice skin, so, you know, I don't mind having a little bit for SSG there. But look, round 4, MACKO now, they get back into the hard game. It's kind of like, I feel like Gen.G can write that last round off a little bit. You kind of think, well, it's third choice side, don't worry about it too much. You know, it's not going to have a big impact on you as a defender because you're confident coming back in with how well you won those first 2 rounds. So, office and exhibition it will be. What do I want to see from MACKO? Basics, 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 basics. Get inside of the map, get established, get that wall open. The main breach, just get it done. You've got your ace, make sure it's cleared. You've got your Rotero drones. You know, again, just create some phantom pressure. Even if it's not where your final push is going to come from, give them something to think about. As it is, looking to open that Geisha rotate. I like that as well. Make it difficult for MACKO to play his position inside of here. They're trying to hold the entire top floor. Give them as much to think about as you can.
Absolutely. Certainly not a bad thing to have to worry about for now. Anyway, let's see how we step on forwards. Of course, the Rotero's rolling on through. Many other matches looking for things like barbed wire that you commonly expect to see on those stairs, but nothing's home. And Akwi, just chilling out on the rappel, just doing his thing, and as he steps out, takes his skull. Goodbye. Not been the best start to the game for him so far either. Sat at 0 and 4. Really, again, Gen.G, the ones that have looked the most comfortable of the bunch so far, and you can again see the aggression, the presence of these players on the top floor, moving around like they quite literally own the place, Tim. Do you know how much this place costs? Come on.
It doesn't look cheap. Let me put it that way, Dad. Well,
no.
You know, Gen.G are doing a great job of getting a kill, relocating, moving, repositioning. You know, they're kind of just mini adaptations. Like, right, we've got that little bit of space, we've got that kill, we've taken out Ash in this case, or, you know, whichever operator. So how does that mean that we can now play the round? How does that mean that we can change? How does that change the map control that we've got, the pressure that we're going to face? And they just adjust. They've given up that other side. You know, look, we've got our kill over there. We've come in under a little bit more pressure, so let's dip away before we give them that advantage back. It's 5 versus 4. We're down to a minute. Now we go back to our site pace positions and we hold from there. So I really like it from Gen.G. It's super organised. It's really very chill.
Just going to vibe out now on the side of that little bar. As he can continue holding his position. Obviously, this one I've been on rappel. Akwi. It could have been a bit of a dangerous spot for him to be in there, but now they know no one's playing on that rappel. They can use that space a lot more liberally than they did before. Two now starting to bear down from Shrine, but you can see, Tim, I was about to say there's two on house stairs at this point. They are willing to challenge absolutely everything. They're not sitting too far back. They're really trying to disrupt MACKO as best they can. Here we go, though. Steps forward to try and find one. Makes it a second as he pushes up from house. Good stuff to give his team a little bit of breathing room here, but now they've got to start looking at the site itself, looking for a third. Not to be found. Azox gets one, Deadshot another. It's like back and forth like a pendulum, Tim. This time it's Gen.G that have now got that man advantage. 3v2. Only 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, that case going down on stairs really does not help them whatsoever. MACKO getting cut down. Dora does get one, but there's going to be an immediate trade there. They look like there was a flurry in the middle of the round. I'd spoken about these Teb clutch moments from stage 1 and that maybe they hadn't had that sort of driving power so far in stage 2, and I thought it might be one of those moments. Raiden was kind of just wandering around site looking for anybody he could find. Teb was picking kills up, and it felt like MACKO was starting to find themselves a real advantage. But as soon as that case goes down on house stairs, 15 seconds left to go, the round is over. That is the fight that they desperately needed to win.
Absolutely. Not too surprised, of course, to see a tat timeout coming on through, because it's going to start feeling like, guys, we're on the defense of this map, right? We should be getting away with wins here. Like, okay, we lost the offsite, now we're losing a main site. It starts to look a little bit less pretty than maybe they would anticipate. This is their chance to sort of reset here, get themselves back into things, and remind themselves that they came into this one on the other side absolutely on tilt. Still more to come. Clearly, I think want to try and get something more out of this and turn it into even a second round in the half. But clearly here they're playing out to try and get rid of karaoke as well in this next round. They have to lose in the entry in all 4 rounds too. It just shows that things really aren't going according to plan.
No, really not. Every round is on the back foot. It's effectively, if you're losing that entry so consistently, you're basically playing 4v5. You know, and that's not to say any individual isn't showing up, but it's to say that within pretty much the first minute of every round, there's only one round where it's been beyond a minute, and that was round 1, and it was a minute and 15. So, you know, it's still not a huge amount of time, but there's been 49 seconds, 42 seconds, and 56 seconds. Those are the times of the opening kills in round 2, 3, and 4. So within the first minute, every single time you are 4v5. And on the attack, that's massive, because, you know, you're the one that needs to break them down. You're the one that's trying to eat through utility, eat through time, everything else. You know, the defenders can then just sit back and relax a little bit more, and Gen.G have been showing us their capabilities when they are able to do that. So good stuff from Gen.G, and they will just keep doing what they're doing. They're pointing in the right direction. They just need to keep on walking. 3-1 it is on the scoreboard as we come into round 5, and it's going to be karaoke tea.
Ooh, MACKO a bit late on that one, I think. Gets the jam onto it in the end, so maybe stops at least a bit of it going off on that case, but he was so late getting to that VIP wall that I don't know if he managed to stop it in time. I'll have to check in a minute and see if it got opened up. Now, of course, the focus on this black stairs, because immediately he's got 2 shields at the top of here. Tim, this feels like a proper skyscraper attack. You know what I mean? None of that nonsense of trying to fight other sides of the map. Nah, 2 shields straight towards site. No messing about.
This plant's going to go down. I don't see any way that Gen.G will stop this. It's the first time as well that MACKO have been able to get themselves that opening kill. Ooh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I really thought they were just going to stick it then. The impact nades weren't going to do the job, but the smoke canister did. Akwi manages to get MACKO though. 4 versus 3. They've lost that Ursa along the way, and the diffuser's down cold inside a site. It's going to be up to Lolo to try and recover and just do something with this situation.
Yeah, that was kind of the Hail Mary relying on the Oster a little bit. It was always a risk because they didn't have downstairs control fully either. MACKO did manage to get down there. I'm pretty convinced could have got away with the C4 even if they hadn't managed to clear out the Oster shield. Did eventually go down to Akwi, who of course had that job of making sure downstairs was nice and safe for the team to be able to get a plant going in. But you can't put all your eggs in one basket, Tim. Surely they don't run out of ideas after falling at the first hurdle, right?
It's a big rethink, isn't it? You can see they've just circled around, but look at the aggression. They're giving Gen.G no time to think about it. 1 kill comes in. Asa does manage to find the trade. 3 versus 2. Still the advantage from MACKO. They don't have diffuser. The decision has been made that they're going for kills, and they're going to start losing on that front. But there comes the power of the blitz as he takes down Asa, who is full white flashed. It's all up to Azox. 1v2 with a shield on the other side. They can collect the diffuser as well now. This should be a round to MACKO. Aggression is going to win the day.
He can patience, I was going to say, to force out the 1v1, which is what he's trying to do here as well. Knows they can be really patient here. Teb playing this so well. Diffuser's down, and now there's a shield up. Look at him. He's being so patient. Isn't getting baited in. Just let his teammate finish the job. Teb has played that post plant beautifully.
Yeah, great stuff from MACKO. I really thought they were going to struggle in that round. Once that diffuser goes down inside a site, they've lost the roster. That's the plan for the plant. That rotation coming in, you kind of think, you know, what's the call here? But it was actually a really decisive, pointed call of, right, we go in through Shrine window and we just aggress into site. It wasn't a, let's see what we get, let's see what happens. You could see the intention, the momentum that they carried through into gold bars. Bang, got the kill, created the space. Really good stuff from MACKO, and that is the energy they're going to need to find to take another round on the attack.
Absolutely.
Shot from the
I'm glad actually. I was
just wondering where Ryden had been shot from.
Yeah, across from a bleeding side of T. Yeah. It was to be fair, I was a bit nervous when they looked like they were out of ideas, but you can kind of see the thought process and the gears started turning once they lost the oscillator. Okay, then how do we play this instead? Figuring out a plan on the fly. And I'll give them full credit. The way they turned around and approached that was absolutely beautiful. Rotating over towards Shrine. Lolo at being the tip of the spear on that blitz, causing absolute chaos in the round. Just very, very well recognized the thing about what was the change they needed to make in that round and getting away with it. Wonderful attack. And they've got the 2 rounds that really you need here to say you've had a successful half on Sky. They get a 3-3 team. I can see MACKO just slamming that door shut going into the second half.
I think you're right. Yeah, Gen.G needs to be... No, don't worry about it, Des. You know, I'll say when you're right.
It's very rare.
Well, this is it. You know, a stop clock's right twice a day, isn't it? So, Deadshot's going to pick up Ryder. And look, that's not the start that MACKO wanted. That's the Raura going to be taken out. So that leaves them now. If you bring in a Raura, it's going to be part of your main execution strategy. You want him to, you know, block up some of them doorways, create a little bit of pocket of space. That's not going to be possible now. So MACKO on the back foot and back to the drawing board. As you said, a 3-3 half, I think does them, you know, extremely well. That is going to be difficult to come by now.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. Poor Raiden, by the way. I feel so bad for him because the decks got already ragged on him. Like Fresh and Leo, they're little bastards, aren't they? They were just like, yeah, he's at the start so far, replacing Ghost, and now he's 0-6 in this game. Really can't seem to catch a break, to be fair to him, bless him. And of course, relying on that operator for your execute is what makes it even worse. Like, you've got the 2 shields on side. You want to box off some angles to protect them on their charge on 4s with that Raura. Not going to get a chance to make use of it. It's not looking pretty. Skies netting the second in the round. Gen.G going from strength to strength, looking like they will get that 4-2 half. At this point, all they've got to do is sit tight because MACKO could very well just find themselves walking into angles here. They simply can't contest. When you're being watched in 3 different directions, you're dead to rights.
Yeah, round 7 and 8 are going to be particularly important, I think, here. And how do Gen.G look on the attack? You know, are they able to put the numbers up when it counts in the second half? And we'll find that out quite quickly. As it stands at the minute, just in terms of kind of siege mechanics and gunfights, you feel they are coming out strongly on top. The majority of the time, they are winning the majority of these situations. And they're making life very, very uncomfortable for MACKO, just like that.
Nice.
Flawless round, even when you've got a Blackbeard against you, they can't even pick one up. You know, it's tough, really, isn't it? It's 2 shields brought along there, and MACKO weren't even able to get 1 kill. I think that says, you know, everything, and Gen.G have just got to keep that mentality for the second half.
All right, I mean, 4-2. You don't complain too much. Imagine they'll feel like they should have got away with more than that. You've had this chat on the desk. We spoke about it at the start. Skyscraper is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most defender-leaning map that we have got around the world. The data supports it. We see it in the gameplay. Teams talk about it. Talent talks about it. We all know that it's the case. It being 4-2, I think will feel like a bit of a failure to Gen.G. They'd have wanted a 5-1, I think, on this one. Instead, it's going to be a 4-2. And as I said, MACKO could slam that door in their face if it was a 3-3. Even at a 4-2, unless Gen.G start this half off in good fashion, I still feel a little bit nervous for them.
Let's see how we go. Oh, look at the Nitro bouncing off the Blackbeard as well. It's tough. It is tough. There's a couple of moments over that first half where I do feel for MACKO a little bit. I feel like they've adopted my siege timing in some of the cases, but ultimately Gen.G have been on top of that, and they deserve the 4-2 lead that they've got. You know, whether that be because they've had, you know, taken the onus in the round to have a little peek or have a little run out or get aggressive up in the face of MACKO. I don't think MACKO have always up themselves. Like I said, there's been situations where they've gone in without really supporting each other, so quite often they're losing players without getting a trade. 5 out of 6 entries have gone to Gen.G. Every single one of them has been without a trade. So, you know, there comes a point where you've just got to start focusing in on the basics and making sure that you're impacting each other's deaths and, you know, doing these basic things.
Well, let's get into it then, shall we? See how things shape up, because there's always 2 halves to a game of Siege, and things can change quite drastically. A lot of stall coming in on the MACKO side to get things off. It's worth stressing. I mean, Goyo and Smoke, you guys have watched a round of Siege before. You've seen what these swap operators can do and how much time they can waste. By the way, it's one thing I only caught in the replays earlier on in our Clubhouse game. You know when Shaiko was playing on Catwalk and died to the fire? There was also a Goyo canister up there that went off. He half died to his own fire and also to Capital fire, and I was like, oh, well, this is really unfortunate. Ah! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Whoa!
Whoa! Okay!
Whoa!
Nice! Okay!
Whoa!
Cool! That was cool! Nice! Tev getting one back at the very least, but MACKO, whoa! What a start to the round!
Yeah, it's going to be the Blackbeard gone, which is not ideal.
I love those moments so
for
much.
Gen.G. MACKO needed a big kill. They needed a big kill there to get themselves back into it, and I think taking the Blackbeard is about as good as it gets for them there, to be honest with you, because when you've got the man over, that shield can really start bullying you. It gives them that bit of extra space, so losing them is going to be a big blow for Gen.G. Ted manages to get another and take down Deadshot, so we come back after a huge start from MACKO to a 3 versus 3, and this is kind of what I was talking about. You know, MACKO need to make sure that they're doing those basics, not giving things up for free, getting the trades, keeping the man count close, not allowing Gen.G to kind of, you know, wear them away and erode them out of rounds.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a hell of a start. I was going to say the next kill would be crucial to give someone a man advantage, and half a round still to play. Would have favored it going for either side, but here we go. Asa's in, Plant's going down in a 2 versus 3, and they haven't got a Scooby-Doo Tim. This is going to get stuck out. Lolo's got 2 smokes. They can do nothing about it. They're still downstairs at this point, Tim. Like, what's going on? We've got to fight our way back in now. You got to see Ryden come back in from Shrine. They very much conceded side control entirely, and this is a really hard retake.
Certainly is. MACKO does manage to get the first. And they're just going to, again, keep trying to hold this area now and keep these defenders, particularly shotguns, away from them. Try and just extend that range as much as they can. Asa gets the first. They know where the second is. So this is going to be one of those big clutch moments that Tev needs to lock out for his team, but not this time as Asa finds that kill. They hold on to the plant. Gen.G take another round, and they are cruising on Skyscraper at the minute.
Looking comfortable. I mean, I said they needed to have a good start to this half, and MACKO, man, dude just flew into it. Like, compare that back to round 1 of the game when we had 3 players barreling in through double window, getting C4'd. He gets 1. This flick, when he gets shot at, is absolutely ludicrous. Bosh! See you later, Akwi. Sit down. So good. So satisfying.
Yeah, it was. MACKO just didn't actually get the kill there. It certainly looked like he was going to, but it was Asa who actually picked up that final one. But 5-2 right now, and Gen.G feel like their heartbeats away from getting this one done. Another round now, particularly, I said 7 and 8 were particularly important because we were going to see how Gen.G functioned on the attack. Did they manage to, you know, keep on top of MACKO, keep bullying them with those kills? And that's exactly what they're doing at the minute. So, yeah, looking very, very dangerous for the Italian side now. I think it's going to be an uphill battle either way. The question is it a hill or is it a mountain? And that's going to be decided here in round 8.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Looking like it could very much run away from MACKO here. I mean, we saw what the coach from Gen.G was saying, you know, a little bit shaky at points, slow start to the stage, various issues outside the game. And it's one thing that we as commentators and, of course, as fans watching the game don't always get to understand is what else is happening outside of the game. Like, all these players have their own lives. Things can happen in those lives that can mean they're not quite up to par on the day itself. I often say that, you know, flip a coin a day and you can see a team up to 50% worse than what they would be at their peak, or even 50% better than what they would be. You don't always know. And obviously for Gen.G, it was a poor start last week. Here, I'd say they've been really on it, just absolutely bossing and dominating Skyscraper, both on defense and on attack from that first round.
Just again working so quickly here, Gen.G. You can already hear those Selma charges going off. The breaches are already happening and they're just getting so great. Look at this straight away. Side roll is open. It's something I was talking about. MACKO maybe not achieving, you know, especially not at this sort of speed. And Gen.G haven't lost anybody. They're able to now start thinking about getting in the map and taking some space as well. Removing castle barricades, removing utility from MACKO. Again, just making them super uncomfortable, even inside of their own setup.
Sure. And again, it's not flying in through that double window towards Terrace and paying the price that we saw out of MACKO on their attacks here. Everything's a bit more measured, a bit more slower pace almost on the side for Gen.G, a bit more calm. They're getting themselves inside the building. They're not losing players too early on. They're not finding the need to go absolutely balmy and try and rush each round off. At this point, I thought for a second then that we might see Deadshot creeping up on someone. And sure enough, he's still working his way through Karaoke. I don't know if they know that he's actually inside the building right now.
Do they know he knows they know he knows? That's
oh, it's such a knowledge test.
It's the real question, isn't it? You know, but we'll see as he pans out. He's going to take out that default cam there, just looking to work his way from underneath up those house stairs. Gen.G need to find a little bit of a gap here. They need to just find a little bit of space, get themselves that opening kill, and then they can start thinking about moving on in. The Blackbeard on the wall is not going to be an easy one to deal with, but Lolo does find Deadshot elsewhere. A couple of kills come flying in. Akwi with a double 2v2 though. How about this? MACKO once again. How many times is he going to go big for his team? There's 2v1. It's up to Akwi. He's got 2 in the round. He's going to need to make it 4 if they want to hold on here and avoid that map point opportunity for Gen.G.
I don't think you're doing that against a 13 and 3 MACKO team. You need a god shot, but here we go. It's down to a 1 versus 1 with 30 seconds to go. He's rounding it, but no! Akwi shuts him down at the dying moments and gets him around on the board. Otherwise, Tim, it would have been a 6-2. And we've been well on our way towards a Gen.G win. Instead, we're going to 5 and 3, and now we start to build into a game.
Yeah, now it's anybody's. The Scorpion having a real sting in its tail at the end of the round there. 2v1, it was mistimed, I've got to say, from Gen.G. I don't think they were... They knew roughly where the last player was inside of kind of Sword's window area. They had a rough idea, but they were just a little bit slow. MACKO should have been there a little bit quicker, or they should have held themselves up. Acer should have just held back a little bit. If you challenge that, they were coming from the right directions. You challenge that, one from Office, one from Exhibition. There's absolutely no way that Akwi wins both of those fights, but they gave him the 1v1s, and look, he's just gone in too soon as Asa. He just needs to wait for his man to get in position, and then they can challenge at the same time, and it's a 1 round, but Akwi plays it pretty beautifully. You can only play the situation in front of you. Hits both of his shots. Great stuff from the Ella.
10 seconds left.
Okay. Well, Tim, I'll tell you what, we've had a game and a half so far, and it is proving to be one of the most interesting EML days that we've had so far. I've enjoyed, but the first game was bonkers anyway, with the wild win over Falcons. That in itself is a shot. This game, we've had some brilliant moments from individuals, a couple of clutches coming out. It's on a map that we very rarely get to see. And I get the feeling that this tale is not yet over. I don't think you're going to see a Gen.G 2-round win streak now to close things out. I think you might find this one goes down to the wire.
Again, that Blackbeard being brought along. Didn't see too much success from it last time around. It's something that MACKO have actually dealt with reasonably well so far. So let's see if Azots can have maybe a little bit more of an impact in this one, as I'm sure he will be hoping to. But going back over to Karaoke T, last time around, Gen.G were able to secure the win. Let's see if they can double down on that and do it again. They've got a full spread around the map. We've got a couple over towards top flat. Does he see him? He does. He sees the outline. Manages to just take a nibble of Lolo, but he knows that it's going to be one of those shotgun operators and does not want to overcommit to it. Don't blame MACKO for just backing out a little bit and saying, I'll live to fight another day, thank you.
We saw the most ridiculous shotgun kill the other day, Tim. I think even in mid-range, I wouldn't fancy facing off against that one, but without much utility to be able to challenge onto it. No flashes in this team is the one thing to note here, of course. It's always going to be hard to win at those corner positions. You've got to be so careful, which now leads to Gen.G slowing things down a bit. They've got to leverage Azox as best they can. He's got that Blackbeard in front of his face. They've got loads of utility throw in with the Capital just behind him. I said no flashes, but lots of fire, lots of smoke they can make use of to maximize his effectiveness. He's got to be what they channel this round through.
Yeah, we've had a couple of come-ins together now, and both teams have kind of taken a step back with a little bit of a bloody nose each, but nothing too locked in just yet. Lolo, bit of damage. MACKO, bit of damage, but It's back to the drawing board for both as the defenders just try to hold on. The attackers just prodding, pressing, seeing if they can find any space whatsoever. They have got themselves quite aggressively positioned here. Try and drum all in their control. So the defenders are pretty boxed in, but Impact Nade comes out to stop that wall being fully opened by the Selma charge. They need to be careful now about trying to put a second one on. They are aware of Aqua's position. We see the utility starting to be thrown in at him, and eventually the net closes and Skies manages to get the kill. 30 seconds there's.
It's kind of got to go in and make the plan happen now. C4 into goal where they assumed it would come, and now they've heard that C4, they might well go for it. Problem is, Tim, that breach isn't fully opened up, so they can't go in. They're going to have to go in the hard way, and they've done just that. Need to respect the downstairs as well. In fact, no one's downstairs anymore. Plant is going down. As long as the cover is there, they're good. They've got enough players to make this happen. They've still got loads of utility in Deadshot's back pocket if they really want to close things off here, but this one feels pretty done. Azox will dig himself into gold here as well. It's all down to Lolo. They've got all the angles they need to. This one's over, and Gen.G move up to match point.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like a matter of time now, even with the small improvements that we've seen MACKO making throughout the game, managing to steal around here and there. It's just not enough to match up that gulf between these two teams on Skyscraper and Gen.G. They know what is at stake, and they're just grinding MACKO down. Like I say, you feel like it's just a matter of time. That's Karaoke and T twice they've been able to win. The Blackbeard ban comes in, obviously a response to the use from Azox, who goes straight away over to the Monty. He's not too worried about that. But even without that breach being successful, even with having to, adapt and go in through the door instead to get that diffuser down, Gen.G still able to get it done. So it begs the question, what do MACKO do here? Do you go to the more preferred T and Karaoke again for a third time? Or do you go to a third choice site and head downstairs? And it's exactly the second choice that they're going to take.
Ooh. I'll tell you what, Tim, I feel we've been quite blessed. Across our first 2 weeks of casting Stage 2, we've seen Skyscraper a couple of times, and we're going to a site that we very, very rarely get to see. Who was it who was playing when we saw us go to this site before? And if I remember, it was a bit of a mental shield charge forward to try and close out the round at the very end in like a 1v1 or something, so it was a bit anticlimactic. But who was it who was playing? Do you remember?
I don't remember who it was. Somebody definitely, you're absolutely right, somebody did defend this side. I will find who it was.
All right. Have a dig, and we'll find out. Denari coming along here as well. Denari, I'm still waiting to see maximum effective use from, because where a lot of teams have found the ability to shut down his gadget is quite simply just nade out one of the two sides or shoot out the other side, and the other side is then completely useless. It's rendered ineffective. So it does guarantee that you need to use utility on the other side, and I'm looking at the sign up from Gen.G. No nades on side, a cheeky little swarm peek on towards Deadshot, who's a bit too wise to it, but there are a lot of things here to impede them. Yes, you've got things like the Thatcher on side to disable them momentarily, but they will of course reactivate here. So keep a close eye on that and see if we find anyone getting tripped up, pun not intended, by those Denari gadgets.
It was G2 on the defense against Team Secret.
I was going to say, I swear it was G2.
It was G2 on the defense, and they lost the side. Secret were able to win on the attack. MACKO continues, and it looks like Gen.G might just be following in Secret's footsteps from that day, as they are looking to get the attack win onto Master Bedroom as well. MACKO with a beautiful third in the round, pistol headshot to take down Lolo, and you've got to say, this race looks run.
I know I said it in respect to 2-round win streak coming out of Gen.G, and I clearly forgot that MACKO is the boss of Skyscraper. He is the Don, 16-4. At this point, Dora can only look on as there's a shield bearing down and there's a whole team coming his way. And Gen.G, they land in fashion here on day 3, Tim. What a performance on Skyscraper.
Yeah,